In the world of healthcare, we all know how fast things move, and in that environment, a medication error can happen. It's a situation nobody ever wants to be in, but it's something every single one of us needs to be prepared for. So today, we're going to walk through the critical steps to take when an error occurs, not just for your patient safety, but for your own legal protection as well. This quote really gets right to the heart of it. Think about it. It's often not the initial mistake that ends up in court. It's how that mistake is handled afterwards. A well-managed error, it rarely becomes a lawsuit. But a poorly managed one, well, that almost always does. Your response truly is everything. Okay, so before we jump into the how-to, we really need to get a handle on the what and the why. You see, medication errors aren't just isolated moments of someone messing up. They're usually symptoms of a much bigger, more complex system. Understanding that system is the very first step to preventing future errors and to protecting yourself. So let's get on the same page. What exactly is a medication error? The formal definition is any preventable event that could lead to patient harm. And that word, preventable, is so important here. It's what makes these situations so serious, both for the patient and for you, the provider. We're not just talking about the wrong pill. This covers every single step of the process, from the moment you prescribe it to how the patient is monitored. And if you look here, you can see the potential for an error is, well, it's pretty much everywhere. It could be something that seems so small, like a misplaced decimal point that leads to a tenfold overdose. Or it could be overlooking a known allergy that was buried deep in a patient's chart. Every single one of these common errors represents a crack in the very system that's supposed to keep our patients safe. Now, when something goes wrong, it's really easy to point a finger at one person. But the reality? Most mistakes are not the fault of a single negligent person. They're a symptom of a larger problem, a flawed system. Things like poor communication, being short-staffed, just sheer fatigue, these are the real culprits. And recognizing that is absolutely crucial, not just for building a safer healthcare system, but for building a strong legal defense if you ever need one. All right, the moment you realize an error has been made, a clock starts ticking. What you do in the next few minutes and the next few hours is going to have a huge impact on the patient's health and, honestly, on your own legal future. This is your first response protocol. And here is the golden rule. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Burn it into your brain. When an error happens, your first and your only priority is the patient. Not the chart, not an incident report, not calling the legal team, the patient. Everything else can wait. So here is your immediate action plan. Step 1, you've got to identify the error. What happened? Step 2, stabilize the patient. This is your absolute top priority. Do whatever you need to do to make sure they're safe. Step 3, escalate. You have to inform a senior clinician right away. This is no time for ego. And step 4, notify the patient and their family. I know it's a tough conversation, but it's one you have to have. Now, when you do talk to the patient and their family, every single word you say has legal weight, so you have to choose them carefully. Stick to the objective facts. Saying a medication discrepancy occurred is a neutral, factual statement. But saying we made a mistake could be seen as an admission of guilt. The key is to be honest and transparent, but without assigning blame or speculating. Okay, so the immediate crisis is past. The patient is stable, but the legal battle, that might just be getting started. Now it's time to shift gears and focus on building your defense. And your primary tool for that is the medical record. Every single word you write can either protect you or, frankly, condemn you. Here's a really simple guide for your documentation. You absolutely must document the facts. What happened, what you did about it, and what was said. What you should never document are your opinions, your emotions, or any kind of speculation. Your only goal here is to create a clear, objective, chronological record of the events. Nothing more and nothing less. And I really cannot stress this enough. Do not, under any circumstances, alter a medical record. Legally, that's the equivalent of a signed confession. It will absolutely destroy your credibility and your entire case. If you need to add something later, you do it in a separate, dated entry as an addendum. But you never, ever change what's already been written. In India, it's important to know that medication errors often fall under the Consumer Protection Act. What that means for you is that patients have a clear legal right to safe and effective medical care. So when a case goes to court, the judges are going to be looking at 3 key things. Was the error preventable? Was the response timely and appropriate? And was the documentation clear and honest? Any attempt to hide and downplay what happened will be met with severe consequences. So far, we've really been focused on what you, the individual, should do. But now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
Because a single error isn't just a personal failure, it's a failure of the system. And how the institution responds is every bit as important as how the individual does.
See, when a medication error happens, the hospital itself can be held liable. This usually happens in one of three main ways. First, there's vicarious liability. That just means the hospital is responsible for what its employees do. Second, there's system negligence, meaning the hospital's own protocols were weak or inadequate. And third, there can be a failure to supervise, where senior clinicians didn't provide enough oversight. It's a whole chain of responsibility, and every single link matters. You can think of a medication error as a wake-up call. It's a huge signal that something in the system is broken. And the best thing a hospital can do to protect itself legally is to show that it's actually listening to that wake-up call. That means a thorough investigation, finding the root cause of the error, and taking real, concrete steps to fix the problem. Courts almost always look favorably on an institution that learns from its mistakes. So let's just recap the whole strategy. When a medication error occurs, just remember these 5 steps. Respond immediately. Stabilize the patient. Communicate clearly. Document objectively. And improve the system. This right here is your medical legal shield. It's what will protect your patient, your career, and your peace of mind. At the end of the day, the question isn't if a medication error will happen in your career. It's really a matter of when. And when it does, will you be ready? Is your team trained? Is your protocol clear? Is your institution truly prepared to learn from it and improve? Answering those questions now will determine the outcome for your patient and for you.